Well, Neo hates trans people, Jamie Foxx is anti-Semitic, and Lizzo is disgusted by the overweight. Welcome to Fixing Famous People on planet what the fuck. What is happening? What is happening?
And not only one of those things is something that I put on the list of things for us to talk about. So wait,
there's too much. Neo apparently, who
like Neo, the singer and songwriter,
who's very lucky we're even
mentioning
him.
Yes.
But he gave some interview last week and he was like, I'm from a day when a man was a man and a woman was a woman. And if you want to call yourself a goldfish, that's fine. But it doesn't mean I have to call you a goldfish. You know what, Neo? You do have to call me a fucking goldfish. Just be respectful, you piece of shit.
Also, don't talk about these things.
By the way, the apology that he issued was like pretending that the person who gave the interview was a completely different person. I'm going to educate myself. I'm going to do this. Fuck off.
Also, just don't talk about that. When on this show, when we have no idea what we're talking about, we say, I have no idea what I'm talking about, or we don't put it out into the world. Like,
right.
I don't understand why people think that they should know everything about everything. It's insane.
People will say, well, that's his right. And you're absolutely right. He has a right to feel
100%
however he wants. And I have a right to say, if you feel he has that right, you can also fuck off.
Oh, Lord. And then what was it? Jamie Foxx put out something on something.
Jamie Foxx is a Nazi. I don't understand. He put up what is essentially, he's like an 88-year-old man. And he put up a vague book post about they killed Jesus too. How do you try? I'm paraphrasing, but it very much read like he was speaking about Jewish people. Like, how can you trust people who would kill Jesus? And then apparently he was talking about someone very specific, not Jewish people, but about a friend who had betrayed him. And to make matters worse, Jennifer Aniston liked the original post and then
people are like, is she a Nazi?
Go on socials and say, this is disgusting and blah, 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 after she'd already liked it. So now there's backlash, not just against Jamie Foxx, but against Jennifer Aniston for throwing Jamie Foxx under the bus. You know what? Social media is the devil. Don't go on it. Just listen to podcasts. Do not go on social media. All the news you need is here. This 1 hour plus.
Right. We're telling you about it.
This is it. And
we're
then,
a news organization.
We hate everyone equally. Come here.
We are a news organization. Anyway, and then,
of course, there's Lizzo. Full name, not Elizabeth. Melissa something. It is Lizzo.
It's Melissa.
Superstar. Yeah. I am a fan. And there's a lawsuit. These 3 of her dancers are suing her, alleging, among other things, there's basically 3 groups of charges: unfair dismissal, inappropriate sexual conduct, and then harassment. Now, I'm not going to break down every single one of these, but it seems like there are some workplace dynamic issues at Lizzo Inc. But these charges about her
the best thing
fat
ever.
Shaming people is just like, what are you fucking talking about?
It's like, what you would write this as like a parody for SNL for her to be sued over. Like,
it's ridiculous.
Wild.
And this whole narrative has spiraled so out of control so quickly. And it's because of the attorneys for one of the attorney for one of the accusers. I guess he went on Good Morning America and it's in the filing as well, I believe, where it says we're like, this is so the opposite of everything that Lizzo stands for. And so it's just that headline that everyone is sort of running with, as though Lizzo goes home, takes off a fat suit, and she's like Whitley from a different world underneath, and she's just like, fuck them over again. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Are there issues there? Yes, of course. Like there's some classic issues in there of like, my boss asked me to go out to a strip club. And while there, ... No
Yes.
one was forced to go. They even say in the filing, no one was forced to go.
Also, I beg of you, if you like are remotely interested, go read the lawsuit. It is, you will be taken, you'll be in shock when you are done. You'll just sit there and receive all of it for 5 minutes, and you'll just not know what to do with yourself.
It has
the stories
everything.
Are wild.
It's like, if you're reading it, it's hard to read without screaming out loud at it. You know what I mean?
And you know that like they've unearthed like her at a radio interview where she's like, they're talking about, I don't know what, or like, what club do you want to go to, or like what thing? And she says like, I want to go to that club in Amsterdam where they put like bananas up the women's vaginas and then you have to eat them. Like she like admitted that she really wanted to do that on radio, and now it's like all over the internet.
It's cited in the filing has everything. Bananas and vaginas. It's utterly.
And if you were just shocked,
reading it,
if you were just shocked by the fact that I said that club in Amsterdam where they put bananas up people's vaginas and then eat them, just know that that's like skimming the surface of what you're about to read.
There's other stuff in there, but all I keep thinking as I'm reading through the lawsuit is just like,
and then she puts out this like notes app apology, like it's not an apology, just like a bunch of words that don't really say anything, that's supposed to be like a defense of herself, but like she doesn't deny any of the things in the lawsuit. She doesn't say, she just says like her character is under attack and blah, 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 blah. And
she's being represented by Marty Singer, who is like a celebrity, like that. Yes. That's who you want if you're a celebrity being accused of something. Unfortunately, when I was reading her statement on the Notes app, which is key here, because like that's like breaking up with someone on a Post-it. It's that, like we know you're writing it on the Notes app instead of giving us the video that we deserve.
And you're writing it on your phone and no one is approving it and you're just posting it
at all
before your PR person can step in and stop you.
Right. Now, Howard Bragman, the crisis manager, has been deceased for a short amount of time. And all I kept thinking when I read her non-apology was Howard Bragman's rolling over in his grave about what a miscalculation this was. Because I read this filing, which if it's not being performed and acted out in cabarets, it will be by Labor Day, because it should be. It's utterly, there are so many holes in it. And it's just a very bizarre read, and a lot of the responsibility for the most damaging acts in the lawsuit are committed by a woman named Shirlene Quigley, who is Lizzo's dance captain. In fact, the bulk of the negative activity comes from this woman.
That's the sad part, is it's not even Lizzo, it's this other woman.
It's not Lizzo. So this woman, the way the media works is that these dancers sue Lizzo, her production company, and this dance captain, Shirlene Quigley. They're all named in the lawsuit. Most of the offenses are being committed by the dance captain, who apparently was cruel to people under the guise of being a Christian, and she tried to convert people to Christianity and found out one of them was a virgin and was sort of mocking her because of that. This woman, her public apology was done by video and makes Lizzo's look like the perfect apology. She goes on there and says,
I didn't even see it.
She's unhinged, and she goes on there and she's like, no job will make me stop loving God. And that's all I'm going to say. So basically admitting to her part in it. It's so, the whole thing is so bizarre. So Lizzo is writing a non-apology on a Notes app. Shirlene Quigley is basically admitting to everything she's being sued for. And the headlines are Lizzo, it sexually abuses and fat shames people. And it's not that aspect of it. I just don't see how it's true. And the trickle down effect through all of this is that Beyonce does a version of Vogue. Okay. And she sings it in her concert. It's a play on the names that Madonna read of superstars in Vogue. And Beyonce reads a list of women of color who have inspired her and the populace in general. She runs down a list of women's names. This is not going to be convoluted. Stay with me. So at a certain point 2 weeks ago, the utterly insane Erykah Badu insinuated online that Beyonce was biting her style. She wears what looks to be like a giant aluminum fedora, and it's a hat that Erykah Badu has worn before. And Erykah Badu says in a post, looks like I'm everyone's stylist these days, and something like I'm getting no credit for it or whatever. So Beyonce, who was clearly emulating Erykah Badu when she wore the hat in the first place. Beyonce doesn't steal. How dare you? But even though the internet does call her like Steal Beyonce and a whole bunch of other shit, right?
No, like she like changed some of the songs in Renaissance after some other artists that she sampled complained that they didn't consent to the sampling. But go ahead.
But wait, we're not gonna talk about Khalees. We're not even gonna have time.
Absolutely not. No,
because she got paid. Khalees, she needs to yell at her accountant, not Beyonce. I'm sorry, listeners.
Anyway, continue.
So in response to Erykah Badu saying that, Beyonce removes 4 names from that song and just says Erykah Badu's name 4 times at the concert.
Petty
now, because this is intersecting with the Lizzo scandal, totally coincidentally, one of the 4 names removed was Lizzo's name. And so the internet went insane saying that Beyonce had turned her back on Lizzo. Beyonce makes a statement by removing Lizzo's name, blah, blah, blah. 2 nights go by. She stops saying Erykah Badu's name 4 times, reinstates Lizzo's name and says it loudly as if to say, you know, removing her name had nothing to do with this court case.
Yes.
And then the internet starts saying Beyonce supports serial abuser Lizzo. And then that story gets picked up on CNN. And then once that happens, it ends up where? On Fixing Famous People. We had no choice.
It doesn't matter it doesn't matter what you do. They're always gonna. It's always wrong. It started with a vaginal banana in Amsterdam in March, and it ends here today on August 9th on Fixing Famous People. I will tell you that if you want to listen to the court, like all of the court documents, Kate Casey does do like a deep dive with a lawyer on the entire thing. So bop on over to Reality Life with Kate Casey, and she has like the full rundown of the situation. It's
all
crazy.
I keep thinking too is if this was Mariah Carey who was accused of
no
all
one
this,
would even be batting an eyelash.
Everyone be like, work, bitch, show him who's boss. But because it's Lizzo, all of a sudden now she's a serial abuser. Get the fuck out of here.
So stupid.
Get the fuck out.
But I will say, like, she's handling it horribly. Like, she is not doing this right at all. She's primed and ready to be fixed. However, I want to wait until the case is adjudicated before
I'm happy to eat my words if 40 people come forward that they were locked in a truck by Lizzo a year ago and she stops by there to defecate on them or throw them seeds and they've been there then fine. I'm happy to be wrong. I am often. Yeah. But this is like, come on.
It's also, however, like I choose to believe women, and I do actually believe that all of the things that she did in that lawsuit are real. And I also think that like when you're on tour, you like don't have friends, so you like want your backup dancers to like be your friends. That's like what all of it can be reduced down to that. Obviously, Shirlene Quigley is like off her fucking rocker, and like that's its own problem. But as far as like Lizzo going to the club with all the dancers goes, like you don't actually.
I don't even dispute that this happened. I don't even dispute that any of this stuff happened. Again, it's like it's about workplace dynamics. Like some of the stuff that's in the lawsuit is actually, you know, the company that I work for. I believe it's a state law in New York. We do an annual harassment video, and some of the charges in the lawsuit are direct things that I've seen in the video that are used as examples,
like direct examples. Yes.
Yeah. It's not mandatory that you go out with your boss, but if your boss asks and you feel pressured to go, blah, 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 which is a lot of what this is, which is why most of the lawyers that I'm hearing talk about this on the news are saying that most of these charges should be settleable because they sound like people who are inexperienced into what they were being pushed into. Because
they were on her show. They were like plucked from obscurity. So of course they're like, you know.
Sure. And there were normal people, and I'm not saying this is right, but they were normal people who went on a reality show and then became her backup dancers. So when you're on tour and you're a dancer and you have a hold week or a dark week or a down week, you don't get paid your full salary. Now, you can negotiate what rate of your salary it's going to be. They had asked for 50% of their show salary during their dark weeks, and their accountant was like, apparently very nasty, and said, you'll take 25% and like it. And they're saying that he only spoke to the fat women of color that way, but they can't prove that because they don't know what he said to anyone else. So there's a lot of that stuff in the lawsuit. Like it's just very,
there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of
it's so many pages. I mean, that you should cover in your book club because it's a goddamn book.
It is a book. Yes, you're right.
Too many pages.
I'm excited to see what happens because it's like this is not only perfect fodder for us to like fix her after this is all over, but it's just, this is interesting. This will be very interesting.
This is not going to be like the Goop trial.
It's not.
If Lizzo goes, this is not going to be the Goop trial at all. It's going to be Lizzo screaming from the gallery and being told to leave the courtroom.
Yes, it's not.
We will cover it here.
Sadly, Goop is much more deft at this. You know what I mean? She's much more cunning than Lizzo, and sorry to say, but Goop doesn't miss. And you know what I mean? I think that Lizzo,
because Gwyneth Paltrow, for all of her faults, is an Academy Award-winning actress.
Yes,
and it's playing a role the moment her lids open until they close at night.
Yes.
Lizzo is not. Lizzo seems to be very Lizzo.
She's too real
all that time. Right? Yeah. She is that bitch. Right? Yeah. She is. So we'll see how it plays out.
Where our eyes are peeled, our ears are peeled. We're peeled.
Beyonce supports serial abuser Lizzo. I can't with the headline. I can't.
Dying. It's insane.
What is going on with Doja? You were mentioning something before. Okay. I don't follow her as closely as you do.
So apparently Doja Cat is like quitting music, which she's done before recently, but now she's like basically, you know how like there's like Gaga Daily, which is like a Lady Gaga central Instagram account that like follows her every move. All of those versions of Doja Cat, like Doja Cat Daily or like Doja Cat fan or whatever, like, and I don't know, I'm making those up, but like all of her major fan accounts, she basically blocked all of them and like was like, why do you guys make these accounts about me? Like, I didn't ask to be famous. Like, why does anyone care what I do? Like, basically just like destroying her own image, like for no reason at all, and just
it's over,
melting it to the ground.
It's over. She'll be roommates with Amanda Bynes by 2026. It's all over.
Yeah. Basically,
give me fame. Here you go. Get it away from me.
Destroying her entire fan base. And everyone is like, why the fuck are we your fan anymore?
The only thing I want to say about Cardi B, because we do have to mention her, is that we do because that bitch has aim. She has aim like grandma throwing a shoe at you from across the room aim. That was very impressive. Should she be charged with assault? I don't care. Honestly.
No, me neither. And like, you knew she would fight. Like, we've seen videos of her trying to fight Nicki Minaj at the Met Gala.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, right? Like, never forget that, like, there's documented proof that she will fight anyone. So the fact that someone threw water at her and thought that she wasn't going to do that is an idiot. This is going to have to be a supersized episode because we had to talk about all of these things. Like, this is crazy. I'm sorry to tell everyone there's more content that we have to give you, but I mean, how much more? I mean, everything is happening at once. When it rains, it pours, right?
Absolutely. In hour 5 of this week's episode, we're going to talk about Hunter Biden smoking crack.
Yeah, truly. Now, before we get to our guest and our client for this week, I would be remiss if not to bring up your haircut. You were just in Provincetown. And like we can't even talk about it because we don't have enough time. Like people don't have 3.5 hours to listen to all the things going on plus our personal lives. Right. But I need to just tell you how great your haircut is. And
thank you so much.
And that when I saw the photo, I commented, I've been shaken to my core, and that was not a lie.
It's been a few days since then. I from here can see your core still shaking. From it. I cannot wait to tell Joao, my I'm going to call him my P-Town stylist because I have
on a whim go get a haircut.
I mean, I've been talking about it for a couple of weeks. For those of you who don't know what I look like, shame on you. No, but for those of you who don't know what I look like, I had COVID hair. I just grew it long. It was very gray, and then it really very wasn't when I started coloring it, and it was long, and then it was medium long, and it was very midlife crisis-y. And I think I just got on the other side of it. And it was this summer I was in P-Town, and my husband and I were like, you think you'll cut your hair? I was like, oh, I've been thinking about it. And then he went to the gym, and I just went to get my hair cut. When he came back from the gym,
Stop. You just like made it a surprise.
I did. And I am a fucking moron because I didn't shoot his reaction. He just was like, I'm in the courtyard of the hotel. And I walked into the courtyard and went, sup, bro, with literally like 14 inches taken off of my hair. And he jumped out of his seat and screamed loud enough that I thought security would come over because it sounded like an assault. And he said it was the end of an era. And I can't wait to hear what Chris says on the podcast.
No, are you serious?
I swear to God. I swear to God.
I'm loving it. We've called it Mad Men. It's very Mad Men, and I think
it is. It's a little Mad Men. It's a little Maddow, as in Rachel Maddow. But we'll see. That's why I'm not wearing my glasses this week.
You are a monster, also, for just like literally as he's like going to the gym, you just decide to go get it done and then surprise him with it. You're a monster.
Do you think that makes me a monster?
It's just so good because it's just like diabolical, and you're just like springing it on him. I love it.
But can you imagine the arrogance and the narcissism where I'm like, I'm going to surprise you with a change in my physical appearance. Those are the surprises I do. I don't give other people things. I just give them the freedom to react to something I'm doing to my head.
Beautiful.
You're welcome, America.
Speaking of hair, let's
that's
get to
that's a good one. That's a good. I love it.
Speaking of hair that keeps changing, let's get to our guest and our client. All right. This is an emergency episode because we have an emergency guest. Okay. She's been here before. She's a podcast superstar. And she's going to be taking over SiriusXM's Reality Checked on Radio Andy next Monday through Friday, August 14th through the 18th. Her name is Deanna Cheng. And if you're not listening to Reality Checked every day next week, I don't know what's wrong with you. Stop talking to me if you're not. Deanna, thank you for being here.
Oh, my word. Thank you for having me. Thank you for, opening up your airwaves and promoting this little old week. I'm super excited about it. It's exciting to go live.
That's not a little old week. This is Mage. I think this is Mage.
Oh,
not just for you, but for all of us, for all of the fans.
Listen.
Big win for everyone.
Listen, you can get a 3-month trial of Sirius right now. Like if you're not, I don't want to hear, oh, I don't have it. I don't pay for it, blah, 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 this and that. Like I Googled and made sure there is a 3-month trial right now of SiriusXM that you can bop on over to Sirius.com and there's zero reason for you not to be listening. That's all. That's all.
Chris and I will post our Sirius passwords on the Facing Famous People Instagram page.
So everyone can just
really doing the Lord's work.
Yeah, doing the L's work.
One account, 16,000 listeners.
No, but like there's zero excuse for you not to be tuning in. And Deanna is someone who can unpack reality television better than both Dominick and I combined, which is saying something. So you will not be disappointed when you tune in.
She will make you feel as though you have spent an evening binge watching a masterpiece theater level programming. This is how in depth she goes. It's pretty remarkable.
Inside the actor's studio.
We can't scratch the surface. We have to go a few layers deeper.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You know?
Yes. Actors on actors. You know what I mean? That's what we're getting.
We are steeped in the work over at Reality Checked on Radio SiriusXM.
And all this is fine and good, but Deanna, we did bring you, other than to, celebrate you and plug, this incredible week that you're about to have. We did bring you on so that we could, unpack a very real problem that's happening in the world. And that problem is Ariana Grande.
Gosh,
issue number one, Ariana Grande. Followed very distantly by climate change and then terrorism.
Yeah.
Ariana Grande.
Well, if you check TikTok there, that is the correct order of problems in the world.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
So, Dominic, can we be graced by her middle name, please?
Oh my God. I'm unprepared.
Oh, I thought for sure you were at it already.
Shit.
Wow.
Can we take, we'll take
this
guesses.
No, at leaving
Louise, Joan. No, I actually do think Joan is her mother's name. Hang on. Ariana Grande Butera. I don't have Grande Butera because Butera is her dad's last name and Grande is her mother's last name. So I'm not seeing any recorded evidence of a first name-ish type middle name.
But is Grande
which is our first
name?
scandal of the broadcast, obviously. Maybe it is.
Wow, I did not know that her middle name was Grande.
She was born in Boca Raton.
Tracks completely.
I mean, I can't. Even the Wikipedia article says, duh, right after that. Born in Boca Raton, duh. She is the daughter of Joan Grande, the Brooklyn-born CEO of Hose McCann Communications.
Love it.
And Edward Butera, a graphic design firm owner in Boca Raton. Still no mention of a middle name here. Listeners, if you know her middle name or have a copy of her birth certificate, please bring it to the FFP Insta page ASAP.
I think it's Grande, though.
It probably is.
It probably is. That's crazy. Anyway, how did you both receive her originally?
Yeah, it's morphed a little bit for me. But I think my original first, smack in the face was, are you an adult or are you a child? And that question remains on some level,
Yeah.
But that was my initial just big question mark. Like, what's happening here?
Yeah,
What am I looking at? What am I hearing? What is it?
When did you start? When she was a child, or in these handful of years when she's been an actual adult?
Right. Well, I got at her. She's probably been with us as Ariana Grande, the singer. I mean, I guess she's done some work on the small screen prior that I was not aware of. I'll never know what she did. I'll never care. But I feel like she's probably been with us for the last 8 years or so, like as a singer, a pop star, right?
Yeah.
And she's 30.
Correct.
Right now. She's 30. So we had her in her 20s. That's the thing. It was always like, when I heard she was I was like, something doesn't feel legal or right about her. Something feels like, I feel like a predator, and I don't know if I should give myself a citizen's arrest. But then I was like, oh, she's in her 20s. So there was just questions around that. That was my initial hit.
I think I became aware of her when whatever it was that she did that had those, the Playboy, I'm sure it wasn't actually Playboy, but it was like bunny ears with a mask. Whatever the project was where she did that, I just started seeing twinks wearing those things in bars. And of course, my initial reaction was, why are they doing that?
Yeah.
And then I found out that it was a singer, and I was scoffed at for it not knowing who she was. I remember these conversations vividly.
Dangerous Woman is
that's the Playboy bunny ears.
Yes, that's right. Like that's much like her like breakout album that really was like, all right, she's like solidified herself as like someone who's going to perform forever.
Right. And she was nominated. That was like a Grammy nominated moment for her as well. Correct? All right.
I believe so.
And I feel sort of awkward as we're talking about the Ariana timeline, because the truth is, like, I knew that. And then she licked a donut and started dating a ton of people. And
she sure did.
Is honestly, that's how I became, someone who knew who she was.
No, that's so good though. Licked a donut, because that's it. Like, she licked a donut and then dated a million people.
I was going to ask both of you, do you remember when she licked the donut and it was like national news? And I was assuming
it was.
She licked it and then put it back.
Yes,
right?
correct.
That was the deal.
It was on the counter and she licked it. Like, she did not purchase said donut. It's like if you went to Dunkin' Donuts and licked one of the donuts and then like it was ready to be sold.
At the time, I remember instantly seeing that, not knowing her well, and instantly disliking her when I saw it. because if there's anything in life that I cannot forgive, it is the disrespect of a pastry, obviously. As an overweight person, as a person who has, when I was poor, been food insecure, how dare you? How dare you? How dare you?
Yeah, there was something that, there's certain things that happen with the youths that send just a lightning bolt up my spine, and I'm like, oh my God, that is so I'll never get over it, because it's so disrespectful. It shows me that you are arrogant, that you just don't have basic manners. You think that's funny. You think licking a donut and putting it back and somebody else is going to buy that's charming or funny or clever, and that's really tough.
And having now lived through COVID, I now look at it and think that she should be probably given the death penalty, I think, just for the donut thing.
Yeah. Well, even at the time, people were like, the internet hit her with a Mack truck. Like, they were like, how fucking dare you do this? She had to give an apology.
Yeah.
And you know what? This is the first, iteration of her not wanting to follow the rules or not wanting to, be in polite society and act accordingly.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes when I'm at a Sizzler, when they have a buffet there, I will just slam my entire face into the mac and cheese and spit it back and then go to my table. So I understand the mood, at least.
You're so dumb.
Does Sizzler still exist, by the way?
Yes.
Okay.
So moving right along, then let's just say really quickly, amazing voice, extremely talented singer, vocalist with a capital V. Coming up in a time where many of her contemporaries were not that.
True.
Many of her contemporaries, not vocalists. Like, she had, when I heard her first big breakout song, I believe I think it's called I Love the Way. Am I wrong about that? I love the way. And she had all these whistle tones in it, and I was like, is this for one whole second I was like, is this Mariah Carey? Did Mariah Carey bring out a new song? She really had the Mariah Carey sound that we all are addicted to as people that were existed in the 90s and
on purpose. And she admits that
very much
she
so.
has a list of divas that she admits were her inspiration.
In her concert documentary, Mariah Carey retweets one of her videos singing a Mariah Carey song, or something where she asks her to sing a song with her or something like that, and she looks at the camera and is like, this is the biggest moment of my life so far, basically. I've looked up to this woman forever, and she's barely ever acknowledged me, and the fact that she wants to work with me is the biggest moment of my career.
Wow.
That's very sweet.
Yeah.
That's very sweet, and erases 15% of donut date for me. Absolutely. I think that's adorable.
Which is a lot.
Well, she know how to be a sycophant, for sure. She can give it up to the people.
Oh yeah.
That she loves. You
for
know what
sure.
I mean? She has it with Jennifer Coolidge.
Yes.
She really gassed her up. And I feel like
Celine Dion.
I want to say yes, Celine Dion. Jim Carrey, is that accurate? I feel feel like she did it. If somebody connects with her online or whatever, and she did it, she had just a real nice run of, she was economic in her responses. They were really cute. There was a few years where I just felt like she was running things in terms of the way she was conducting herself.
I would agree with that.
2017 was a big year for her, and I'm not trying to go dark, but this event has to be mentioned because as horrible as it was, there are many people who did not know who she was until her concert in Manchester in May of 2017 was the target of a terrorist bombing, a suicide bomber. And that honestly was I don't know if this is true of my parents, but for people like my parents, that's how they found out who she was, because they weren't watching her as Cat Valentine or looking on YouTube, obsessively watching her lick a donut on a 10-minute loop while stoned day after day for the entire previous year, like some people did, like I did. So That was pretty tragic, and it upped her. It really does sound horrible to say, but it is true. It sort of did up her profile. She already was on the Dangerous Woman tour, so she was already a star at that point, but this was the year that Billboard named her Female Artist of the Year, and when people started really paying attention to her personal life. Most likely because when someone goes through a tragedy, the press is just salivating to watch you crumble. And my memory is that she did sort of leave the public eye for a little bit.
And I think she knew that she needed to. It was I believe, very beautiful play, because her name was so attached to something so terrible. And like, it was actually a great move for her to like not be like all over the place and just kind of be like, no, I'm going to just take a step back and like let like the people that actually really need to like heal and like people that need help to like do that and make it not about me at all.
Right.
Which we can't say for anything else she's ever done, but like at that moment she did the perfect play, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And she also had that, and I don't know what year it was, but she did the benefit probably in the next 2018, I imagine, where she raised money, and I think a lot of the people who were at that concert came back. She had a bunch of artists. She handled it beautifully.
Yes. Another important thing to mention is that she was the person that sang at Aretha Franklin's funeral.
Boom.
Is this
okay?
True?
Now
Yes.
I know we're just laying out some basics. We're really laying out some Ariana basics here.
Yes, we sure.
But I will say this about that funeral. And as we dig into where she's gone wrong, I will say, you know, she's such a cute girl. And I think it seems like just such a cross to bear for for female artists who are attractive. You are so picked over and they're so sexualized. And like the way Bill Clinton looked at her, as did every other man on that stage, but the way Bill Clinton looked at her, it was as if she was a chicken drumstick and he was starving. It was so shocking. He is forward facing, cameras on him. He's on the stage. I'm like, Bill, wow.
Yeah.
You're licking your chops at a funeral.
Was he solo there or was Hill with him?
Hill was not on the stage.
Okay.
Not that would have stopped a second.
No,
of what
as
he
every
did.
human being on this planet knows. Yes.
Right.
That much we know. We've seen him lick his chops with or without her.
Yeah.
But my God, at a funeral
Of an absolute icon of a human being, also. Not even just like one that you have to go to, like one that you know every person that likes music is tuning into.
And there was a lineup, and I don't recall the other gentlemen because they'd get called out right now too. But she was in a little black dress. She's a pop star. Is it maybe the most appropriate funeral attire? No, but she's also there to sing. But my God, you know, so I do, when these girls are running from, they have a million relationships, and, you know, I do sense that you just want that security of having a man, having a husband or a woman and a wife, whatever it is, that you have to like buffer yourself against Bill Clinton. Do you know what I mean? Like to have a little.
I mean, yes.
I'm watching video of it right now, and it is lascivious. I urge I have to be honest. Yeah, Deanna, when you're talking about it, I'm like, I don't remember this being that bad. And I'm watching it now and I'm cringing because Bill Clinton just pulled a program out of Jesse Jackson's hand and started masturbating with it while watching Ariana Grande. This is much filthier. I don't remember any of this, but he really does look like a fox in a hen house. It is pretty astonishing. And I will say he is surrounded by other dignitaries who honestly look like they want the performance to be over so they can go to the gift shop or snack bar. So then comes arguably her most famous paramour. There were many before Pete Davidson, but dating Pete Davidson was that was the pinnacle, I think, of her taking over the rags, the gossip rags. Like,
Well,
I think that was really...
Before we get there, she did date Mac Miller, who was a rapper that was very on the rise, and they were together. I don't believe they were together whenever he died, but that was like a big deal. Like when she was dating Mac Miller, that was like, oh, she's dating this other celebrity. Like they started to get a lot of press from the two of them being together.
I only knew they were together after he passed away. That was when I started hearing, like, I don't recall them being together, and not to be a dick, but I just wouldn't have cared at the time. This is like 2016 or so. And after he died was when I became aware that she had dated him and was, devastated, obviously. Like, it seemed like they were sort of star-crossed is the impression I got, where they were like the ones that got away from each other is very much how it seemed in
at the time, for sure.
Yeah.
So then Pete Davidson happens.
Right. And instantly everyone starts doing celebrity death pool on how many months this is going to last. And then like 4 minutes later, they get engaged. And you're like, oh, wow. Someone's going to die in this one too.
Oh,
Good
wait,
Lord.
they got engaged.
Yes.
Oh my God. I forgot that they got engaged.
Yeah, because he was dating Cassie, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Cassie David, Larry David's daughter. They were together.
Prior to Ariana?
Very like budded right of looking through, and I sort of went deep on her history, and it is riddled with her kind of stealing, or it's not great in terms of how she's getting these men. They're either dumping their long-term girlfriends, fiancés. So Cassie was, it seems like they had just, the overlap was real tight.
Yeah, like the ink wasn't even dry on the page yet.
Not at all. And she had, I think, helped Pete get sober. So, she did that heavy lifting, and then
the pattern begins, doesn't it? Interesting.
Yeah.
That's wild. And then she also, Ariana Grande, then launches Pete Davidson into like an eligible bachelor.
Beyond.
Right. Because then she says he's got big dick energy, and then people start crawling out of the woodwork to fuck him.
To find out.
Most eligible cougars are now climbing on him like monkey bars, 1 week after the other. It was an insane year for him.
It was crazy.
I mean, he went all the way up to the top. That's the thing. He went all the way up to Kim Kardashian herself, which famously on my Instagram, I said a million times, like, this is for publicity. Like, there's no way they're really dating, and kept being like, I don't believe this. I don't believe this. And then they were like, really dating. And I was like, fuck, I can't believe they're actually really dating. This is insane. Like,
and then right after they broke up, I believe was when Thank You Next came out, right? Which then became another giant,
a huge hit
for her,
which ushered in the era of her not singing anymore. Much like Beyonce not singing, like she kind of copied
and Mariah.
Beyonce.
I mean, and sure, Mariah just hit a moment where now she's just like, fuck it.
Like, I'm just gonna talk and a spoken word album. That's like what
baby, and that's it forever.
But that ushered in her, Ariana Grande's not singing anymore era, and so that was like, Thank You Next was like the biggest hit of that era.
I remember hearing it for the first time and reacting badly at first because I didn't think that it was a good idea, and then 5 minutes later, I thought that it was genius because she had then started, this was the moment when she started becoming known more for her love life than her music. And so she just leaned into it, and then just sort of listed all of the guys.
Her exes.
All of them. I just thought it was genius. And she was young, she was 26 or 27. Not everyone loved that. It wasn't 100% well received by moms of young girls who would now think it was, par for the course that you should buzz through that many guys in your 20s, which everyone does. They just don't talk about it or tell their daughters to do it. But you know what I mean? It was very,
I just Googled the lyrics to Thank You Next, and we're skipping over the fact that she stole Big Sean away from Naya Rivera. R.I.P. This is before all of this.
Naya Rivera literally thought she was engaged to him, was with him, walked into her home, and she said the little girl was sitting cross-legged in her living room listening to music with her husband, and then the internet told her that she was no longer with Big Sean.
Is that right?
Yes.
Wow. I never heard that story.
The
I knew about Naya
audacity.
Rivera, but I didn't know that.
The audacity of it all. Truly.
God almighty.
And then you put him in the song, Thank You Next. It's like, wow, we're just living out loud. Like, we're just doing us.
We do not slut shame on this podcast. We do not cock shame. It has nothing to do with that. But there is a pattern. There are existing relationships in body bags in the trail behind Ariana's stiletto prints. That is the truth. Which leads us sort of, and tell me if I'm skipping over too much, but one would be like, why are you fixing Ariana Grande? She's an absolute superstar. Well, of course she is. That's why we all squealed when she was taking over the role of Glinda in the much beloved Wicked. And a couple of stills come out over the seemingly decade-long experience of them shooting this film.
They've been shooting the movie for 9 months.
It's like insane. And it just seems like she was perfectly cast. Cynthia Erivo as Elphaba, as Jesus Lord.
Genius.
And, Wicked's got a huge following. It's huge in high schools. It's huge with kids who are into musical theater, whether or not they like Ariana Grande. They are performing Wicked at high schools. I mean, it is, I'm trying to think of what the equivalent would be from when I was a kid. Probably like Grease. I'm not even kidding, where it's like all high schools are doing this and they all know all the songs and all the characters. And then just a few weeks ago, at this point, it comes out that she is breaking up with her husband, Dalton Gomez, which I don't know what he does, but I'm hoping that he's an anchor at Univision because that is the name for it. I'm Dalton Gomez. Good night.
He's a real estate broker. He's her ex-husband. His job is being her husband.
Very similar. And then that she's broken up with her husband. And then what could literally have been 12 to 13 minutes later, it appears online that she is dating her very married Wicked co-star, Ethan Slater.
Tough.
Here we go again.
Tough. This is the worst. It's almost like it's a heightening, so it's like the girlfriends, the long-term girlfriends, the girlfriends from high school. And now, the wife with the kid, just a baby. This is bad news bears.
On so many levels. I'm sure, I'm not even sure anymore about how bad news has to be for a producer or studio to actually be concerned. I do think, to go on a tangent, I think that The Flash underperforming is proof that bad press for a star will affect box office. And I would have a feeling that the people backing Wicked are not overjoyed that there's a sex scandal involving the biggest name in the film.
However, I feel like that gets me going. That gets me right to the theater way quicker, earlier than I would have went.
I don't know. I'll definitely talk about it more for sure. This guy was married to his high school sweetheart and they have an infant at home. And she had no inkling, supposedly, that anything was going on. But the best part, the part that makes this the greatest story ever is that he played SpongeBob Squarepants on Broadway.
Yes.
And the jokes and the memes, the internet is delivering on a level that I have not seen before.
Yes,
it
correct.
was, if he hadn't played SpongeBob, I'm not even sure that this would have been a scandal.
Right.
Because when you're getting alerts on your phone that say Ariana silent on affair with SpongeBob Squarepants, you're going to stop working and go look at your phone. Like it's a brilliant fucking headline. Like absolutely brilliant.
It's tough. It's tough in every way. First and foremost, outside of everything, he needs to send her a $1 million because he is now a household name and never would have. The movie would have come out. He would have come and gone. He would have had his day in the sun and he would have been forever off. We will always remember who he is now because of this happening. And I think that is half of the motivation for him to do this. Is that sad of me to say?
Yes.
He's like, I could be with a beyond A-list person and like be in the headline of every news article and have everyone watch my performance in SpongeBob Squarepants musical on TikTok as they make fun of me. Like, we've all seen the videos.
I am so naive. I never think that people do things for their profile, but of course they do. But I think she is good at this thing, which is breaking up relationships and seeming like, it's meant to be forever. And her relationships with love only last about a year or so tops for all of them. And again, do you, except for the fact that she went to dinner with the wife and baby, held the baby. They all went out together. I mean, it's not great, guys. I don't know.
No, that's really bad. I did not know that. They went out to dinner together, all together.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And this is the one, like, we're the three of us are going back and forth talking about, oh, she did this one. Oh, remember this. Oh, remember she did this. No one's going to forget this one.
No.
This is the one that cements her reputation very badly in the eyes of people who are really quite triggered by infidelity, home wreckers, and this is,
well, and
I think it is damaging to her reputation. I agree with you.
So much so that her own fans are like turning on her.
Really?
On the internet, they're like, what the fuck is she doing? Like, it's not good for her. The fans are not like, oh, she's whatever, like, blah, blah. Everyone's like, why is she doing this? So much so that they're going back through her old songs, and like, she has a song on, it's the same album as Thank You Next, that's called Break Up With Your Boyfriend, or Break Up With Your Girlfriend, I'm Bored. And it's written by Candy Burris, by the way. Written by Candy Burris.
Oh, really?
And it's like, and the song is literally break up with your girlfriend because I'm bored. Wow. And that's like the hook of the song.
Listen, there is a thrill, to that journey.
It's dangerous. Like, she's a dangerous woman.
She's a dangerous woman. She told us.
She warned us all 6 years ago.
Listen, there is a thrill. I will say that I think when you're not that secure of a person, that's when you take that path. She has a history and she ultimately doesn't feel good enough about herself to go out on her own and find her own fellas that are not attached. So she's getting a thrill off of this. And it's something she should have figured out a while ago. But this is a doozy. I mean,
his poor wife.
It's not a good.
I do feel terribly for her. I really do.
You're with a SpongeBob Squarepants. You don't ever think that this is on the table.
Right. Who's stealing this from me?
You don't ever go, God, should I be concerned that this international pop star is working? She's like, I can't tell you how safe I feel. I feel cozy and comfortable.
Not so. I mean, and it's, in his defense, though, I mean, I don't know. Well, I know what I would do if one of the biggest stars in the world was showing an interest in me. I don't know. I'd probably forget about my family. I mean, no one, it's not something you even fantasize about. One of the most heralded, talented, beautiful women who they're about the same age. So he grew up or came into adulthood knowing who she was. And so to have this person show an interest in you is, I would assume, is hypnotic. What's even more shocking is that Cynthia Erivo was caught in a compromising position with Squidward, who we all thought was homosexual all of these years. So
Who,
at least in solidarity, she did a solidarity fuck with the other one. What's the other one?
Patrick, which PS, you do know that like all of my friends from high school, my sister and my mother all call me Squidward. Because I one look exactly like him and have the same attitude.
God. Oh my God.
I wish I was joking at all.
I am.
Dominick is
I feel like someone just hit the reset button on our friendship, and we are at 0 right now. And I'm never calling you Chris again for the rest of our lives. That is not something that ever occurred to me, but I can see in a comedic way why that is fucking brilliant.
Anyway, moving right along from that.
I think you and I should go as Squidward and Patrick to the Fixing Famous People Halloween party this
100%. 100%.
All right, done.
And I think we've left her husband, not boyfriend, like that
husband.
Piece. She was fully married, and I think she got married during the pandemic. And I was like,
and like out of nowhere, like you didn't know that they were dating, and then she
Right.
put up pictures of them, her in a wedding dress in her house, being like, we got married in my living room.
Yeah, it felt very underdone in a wonderful way.
Yes.
And I thought, oh, I'm happy for her. Like the Pete Davidson was burned so hot and was way too much. And whoever this guy is, they look cute together. He looks age appropriate, and they are married, and it's quiet, and she's just doing her thing. That seems lovely.
He's not a celebrity. Like they got married without a peep. You know what I mean? Like it's that thing where you're like, oh, you learned your lesson. Like you shouldn't date another celebrity. And now you're with this like normie that's going to like be great for you.
Amazing. So that felt really good. And I think we may at some point, he may partner with the wife and give us I feel like he's been silent, and we may get something juicy from the two of them at some point.
Let me ask you this important question, though, Deanna. Was he silent or was he silent?
How dare you? How dare you? How dare you?
This is the thing, though. Why do all these people have to whatever happened to cheating? And just keeping it to yourself, fucking someone in a broom closet when the crew's gone home, and then you just go about your lives. Why does everyone have to leave their families to be with Ariana Grande?
Like in the
and why can't Ariana Grande just have a one-night stand? Why does she have to date everybody? Was she a lesbian? Jesus Christ. Like, you don't have to fuck whoever you want. You don't have to make them leave their families as well. Good Lord.
Have a showmance like everyone else.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the moment when we should mention that there's a lot of she is beloved by millions of people, and not in any small dose. The LGBTQ plus community absolutely worships her, and she has an out and proud gay brother who is also an entertainer, and she has been a very staunch advocate for the gay community, which is very important. I just don't care about it today. That's all.
Well, and have you seen the side-by-sides of her brother and then SpongeBob?
Oh
no.
Dominic, they're
no, it's an emergency.
Dominic, they're crippling.
No,
they're crippling.
No, you'll never. That is all I'm thinking about as we're talking this whole time. It's the image in my head. You need the side by side. If you're not,
I am. I mean, they are structurally in the face. They are definitely similar. I wouldn't say it's uncanny, but they're definitely. Oh, the eyes, yeah.
Oh, what? I think it's a cut and paste.
It's a cut and paste.
They're
not exactly the same.
This Instagram account, Martinis and Mascara, has a side-by-side where they look like the same person with different wigs.
Yeah.
Whatever that is. I don't even know what to file that under. File that under.
Freud.
Freud.
Is it Freud?
Familiarity / it's not comfortable /
It's like that's some like Tennessee Williams bullshit or something. Really.
But P.S. Oh my God, you can't even see it in my frame. My clitorally candle is burning brightly. Let me
Stop.
see. Hold on. It's amazing.
Thank you. Well, thank you
I
for
have been burning it a lot. And I got to tell you, it's burning nice and even. It's got beautiful throw. a lovely scent. And this is a walk in the beach, and I love it. And it makes me feel really happy.
Thank you so much. And I can't tell you how much time we spent in the lab perfecting the experience that you're going through right now. I mean, Chris, it was probably...
It was grueling.
It was 45 seconds probably where we talked about it.
No, thank you. But thank you for saying that. That's beautiful. Thank you. Well, I mean, I think we're at our point where we have to...
Yeah, what do we do?
All right, well, God, okay. Here we go. Ariana Grande. In response to Jeanette McCurdy's book, I'm Glad My Mom Died, which she trashed Ariana Grande in, saying that she was really mean. Oh, yeah. She is going to write a memoir. And it could be called Thank You Next. It could be called I'm Glad I Didn't Get Married to Any of These Men. It could be called whatever she wants to call it. And she is going to go through and write a memoir about becoming famous, working at the Disney Channel, volleying back shade to Jeanette McCurdy, talking about becoming a celebrity, and then chronicling every single one of these relationships. She is going to talk about Big Sean and how basically probably he told her that he was not with Naya Rivera anymore. So she's sitting in the living room and she sees Naya Rivera walk in the door and be like, why are you in my house? Like we get her side of the story of like bone chilling, like her being like, what? While that happened, we hear about Pete Davidson. We hear why she says he has big dick energy. We hear about Mac Miller. We get the chapters about their relationship together. We get to hear about like his drug use. We hear about how hard it was for her whenever he passed away. We hear about her marriage. We find out why she married this man, what he's like, what his birthday is, any of those things I want to hear. We find out about all of these things. And then the pivotal chapter is why she decides to be with SpongeBob Squarepants. I need it written in essay form. She needs to defend herself to the people about why this has happened. And in every one of these chapters, she's going to right her wrongs and tell her side of the story instead of being silent. There will be millions of copies sold. I think that a portion of the proceeds should go to one, like people struggling with drug use. And then also, I think, two, another benefit to the Manchester bombing or something of the same nature of like some kind of charity that would help either people in school shootings or other kind of attacks like this. So she has like the human element to it. And it's like the wildfire book that like Paris Hilton's memoir, Jeanette McCurdy's, like Ariana Grande's up there. And she diversifies why we like her. And through telling these stories, rides back to the top and at least gets to tell her side rather than us just trashing her. Because right now her fans are like not happy with her. They're not being like sheep and just being like, everyone fuck off, like let Ariana do whatever she wants. Like they're mad and they're like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
This is how she's going to do it. And it will be released in conjunction with the Wicked movies. Oh, that is my pitch.
Wow. Electric.
Ariana, Chris, respectable pitch. I have no invalidations at this.
I have no idea where you're going with this.
I'd like, if I may, I would like to give you some of my rejected ideas.
Okay.
Like I, at one point, was going to very straight-faced say, let's just do, she needs to do a Netflix episodic memoir, one episode for each of the loves of her life.
Oh, good idea.
Well, then that's my pitch. No, I'm joking. It's not. That is not it. That was one, but I took it out of contention because I will always go for something much more, what's the word? Stupid. That's what I like to do. Something a little more attention grabbing. Then I was like, someone needs to quickly write a third Wicked movie where SpongeBob's wife comes back as a new character and slays Delinda or something. I don't know. I was like, no, we're not going to rework Wicked because all the fans will get to say. So then I just thought, you got to lean into it. If you're known for something terrible, even if it's misconstrued, just make that coin, girl. So what I want Ariana Grande to do is to host a reboot of the game show, The Newlywed Game.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Which is going to have the added element of when the wives, if you don't know the Newlywed Game, it's newlywed couples and each spouse is left alone. The men are there and then the women are there being asked questions about their spouses. But the added feature of these women are leaving their husbands alone in a room with Ariana Grande. And so part of the suspense of the show is not which couple is going to make the most points, but when the wives go back into the room, will their husbands still be there? And will Ariana Grande still be there?
It's basically turns into like boiling points where like you don't know the moment where it's like got to turn. Yeah.
That's it. And that's my pitch, is that she just lean into this horrific reputation for destroying relationships and then just start destroying them as part of a game show.
Yeah. Wow. Guys, I feel drunk with power right now.
You are. You should.
I really do. I'm like, this is too much power for one person to have. First of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you. Not next. But I do want to say thank you. And I want to say thank you for the time and the effort and the thought that you put into these pitches because it's not about me, but I am here and I'm feeling like that was just so thorough and rich. So thank you for that.
Thank you. I mean, I won't deny that we up our game when you are with us for sure.
100%.
There's no doubt.
Of course, I would love to choose Chris because our friendship is slightly stronger,
okay,
than Dominick's and mine. So I love the book. I love the book idea, but the idea of the Newlywed Game is such must-see TV.
Yeah.
It's like I am recording it. I'm clearing my schedule just to see like who will stay together. It's so thrilling. And ultimately, it's what I want to watch, and I'm going to have to give it to Dominick on this.
I am
Dominick is honored
to have your support. Deanna,
But I really will read the book as well. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So
I want it. I want the book.
Provided me with great content.
Yeah. No, but the Newlywed Game is great. And I do love that it turns into like almost like not Survivor, but not Survivor, where then like you're waiting to see like if any, like when, whenever in Survivor, when like they have the tribal council and then the next episode at the next reward challenge, you see them all come back in and see who is eliminated. That's like what they're going to, like every episode you get to see that of like,
that's really
like who's still there.
Real. And I want to be very, very, very clear about this. If I had the effect on men that Ariana Grande has,
yes,
I would have 3 times the boyfriend and I would host this show. It would be a daily show that I would host it. If I could do that, that's what I do. Because my rule, right, Chris? It's like, if you're hot, you're obligated to behave the way Ariana's behaving.
Correct.
But, once you start fucking with other people's money, we do need to fix you.
Yeah. There is a line, but
there is a line. There is a line. The line is SpongeBob.
Never would you know. The shots they have of this guy sort of suspended in midair with a huge smile across his face. They're just so funny. I mean, wow. I'm sure he has a little swagoo in person. He must have something.
I'm telling you, he's probably like a nerd. He probably like went up to her and like was like, got your nose, like something stupid. And she was like, oh my God, like, wait, that's funny. And like every guy always tries to like be cooler than, you know what I mean? Every guy she dates is like some guy who's like really hot and like is real like, yo, what up? Like something. He probably like, like,
I can't get over got your nose. I'm still there. I got your nose.
And she like thought that was great. And then he was like again, I bet you they harmonized in a green room somewhere. And then like their genitals just like attracted right to each other. Like that's what happened.
I would love to know from him, and I don't think we're going to get this, but just to hear from him the moment he understood that she was interested and what his brain went through.
Correct. Would love a documentary about it.
just the moment. I want a documentary on that moment where he realized that he might get with Ariana Grande and that she was interested in him, because I do think that she's the one who made the moves. He was not the leader.
Sure.
I don't understand how someone who's a man who is in Wicked, who was nominated for a Tony for playing SpongeBob Squarepants, how this man is even sexually attracted to women. This could be her. This could be Ariana's Liza Minnelli, Peter Allen moment. This could be it. Although I think weren't all of Liza's husbands gay, so it could be Liza and any of her husbands' moment. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is where she goes down that path, which is always a winner. Go to the gays is always a winner, but Ariana's sort of already there. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like I'm trying to. I've been working through my own, prejudices on that. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what I'm looking at, is one thing, but I'm going to open my mind and leave the possibility that it's a straight man. I'm gonna let that possibility be present.
Exist. Yeah, let it exist. And speaking of opening your mind, like for all the men that feel that they identify with a character on SpongeBob SquarePants and want to be with Ariana Grande, like you could.
Right.
Oh, slam.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't sell yourself short. One of the most beautiful and most talented people on the planet, like, could be into you.
But something is happening at this moment, like the last year. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I don't know what's happening, or maybe it's just what she's doing with her hair and makeup.
Well, the blonde hair
are entering like alien, but not in a bad way.
Well, people have said that there's a race bingo card of her, pictures of her on the internet. You're aware of this, right?
A race?
Like they're like, here's Ariana Grande as every race, and different looks that she have all been like Asian. Like they're like, oh, she's out of her Asian look now. She's into like a really white look now because she has like the Glinda blonde hair. I think she dyed her hair blonde for Glinda. So we're seeing her with that blonde hair. And we're also seeing her sans ponytail, which is like always throws everyone for a loop.
Yeah, right. This is a more pared down vibe.
Yeah.
That we're getting, which I think, to Dominick's point, they do belong. The Cheesecake Factory of it all. You put the pared down Ariana with the Ethan in the Cheesecake Factory, and people aren't like going crazy like, what the heck is he doing with her? Yeah.
I would say to Ethan Slater, you are not fixable. You're just done. You are Eddie Cibrian. You are Jesse James.
Yes.
Absolutely not fixable ever again. Wow. You'll still do things, son. You'll still go on, but this, absolutely not.
You're done.
High school sweetheart and a baby? No. And to Ariana Grande, I will say, listen, if I were you, I'd be dead by now for a million reasons. With that sort of power and allure, I would have killed myself accidentally or been killed by
something or someone.
Just be careful, girl. This guy's got a kid. This is not a donut you can lick and put back. You got to be careful. Right. Although I bet Ethan at some point is going to ask for his donut to be licked. TBD on that, because that is how this ends.
You're disgusting.
Wouldn't it be great if he left Ariana Grande for a man?
That would be beautiful. Beautiful.
That would feel nice.
And this is the other thing, this Wicked movie better be good.
Oh shit.
This Wicked movie better be good. If it sucks, then they're fucked.
What if they both get nominated?
Like, is this generation's Angelina Jolie, Brad Pitt, Mr. and Mrs. Smith situation?
No. They want it to be, but it's not.
Okay.
Only because no one knows who Dalton Gomez or Mrs. SpongeBob are.
Correct.
That's, I think, what puts it in a different category.
Yeah. Or Ethan Slater or Mr. SpongeBob.
Yeah. I mean, truly, we didn't know who he was until like the 4th of July or something.
Zero idea.
But
Oh,
all I know is that we were called to an emergency session because
emergency session.
Deanna was available while Ariana Grande was in the news again, and we had to act. It was DEFCON 1. Yeah,
it was. It truly was. Deanna, thank you so much for this emergency session. Again, there's no reason why you can't have a 3-month free trial of SiriusXM to listen to her next week on Reality Checked. Okay?
Well, thank you so much for that. I had a blast talking to you guys, and thank you for the serious plug. And yeah, if you guys want to show up there, give me a call. There's a call-in number. I'll post on my Instagram, Deanna M. Cheng. If you have anything you want to share in the Bravo world or reality at large that you need to get off your chest, we can chit-chat about it, and we'll have fun.
What time is it coming on? Do you know what time the show is?
Great question. It's the 1 to 2 p.m. slot.
A great slot, by the way.
Huge slot.
Usually when people are doing their lunch break, if you're on a lunch break from work, you're listening. Sorry, you're doing it.
Yeah, that's a great time to listen.
Deanna, where can people find you?
Deanna M. Cheng on Instagram and I guess Twitter, Threads, ?
X.
Just Instagram.
Whatever the fuck. Yeah.
Instagram's the spot. That's where I'll be.
Yeah. Dominick, where can people find you?
They can find me at my website, dominteri.com, which links to my socials at Dominick Pupa. And I know I threatened a short time ago, but I really will have dates for my holiday show announced by the end of the month. So check those spaces or just keep listening here.
Amazing.
Quick question before we go. Dominick, are you discussing your hair at a different time?
We'll probably be discussing it in the intro to this episode, which we'll tape after this.
Great.
Do you need to comment?
I may
Deanna?
just need to say one thing.
Okay.
For the road. Dominick.
Deanna.
Your hair looks great.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
It's been an adjustment, as I sit here. But I feel it's a powerful look.
Thank you.
And
wow.
I think there's it's going to move us into a new space era. And I don't know what that looks like, but it's not just a haircut.
No, it's a rebranding.
It's a rebrand.
And I'm going to say different. You were on in the first batch of episodes we did. You came on our Hilaria Baldwin episode.
Thank you.
And Chris won that episode. I think you looked at my hair and it didn't even matter what Chris said today. I was a winner the moment my screen opened. I could see it in your eye. You were like, what's going on? It's the hair.
I think you're right. I think that there was no other path.
Correct.
The hair drew me to you.
The next time you hear Chris, he's going to have shaved his head completely.
Or extensions or something. Yeah.
Oh, God, a weave, Chris, please.
Can you imagine if I then had your haircut that was long hair and we just switched?
The lace front.
I should. Oh, God.
Christopher and Deanna, thank you very much for being here and for the compliments and just for your wit and your insanely comfortable conversational skills. You were born to do this. Really, we are huge fans.
I love you guys, and I think your show is amazing. I mean, I know now we're just complimenting each other, but
we'll do a whole hour of
it.
You're so good together. I love the show.
Thank you. That's very nice of you,
Christopher. Where can we find you?
You can find me at the DeRosa. You can find the show at Fixing Famous People. Write a review and let us know who you want us to fix next. And as always, I wish you both well. And where's Shelly? Goodbye.